You lie there in the dark, phone screen finally dark, room quiet except for the low hum of electricity moving through walls you cannot see. It is late, later than your body wanted, earlier than your mind is willing to surrender. And somewhere inside the silence, a small, persistent ache begins to circle. Not pain exactly, not grief. Something softer, more patient. A kind of homesickness for a home that may never have existed the way you remember it. You turn onto your side. The pillow is already warm from your cheek. You try to arrange your thoughts into something orderly. Tomorrow's obligations, the half-finished message you still haven't sent, the small humiliations of the day that keep resurfacing like bubbles in still water. But none of them hold. They drift. And what rises instead is quieter, older. You miss something you cannot name. Not a person. Not a place exactly. You miss evenings that felt like they belonged to you. Evenings when voices, familiar, worn, unhurried, moved around you like weather. When someone could look across a table, or across a fire, or simply across the few meters of shared air, and understand what you were not saying. When silence was not emptiness, but language. When being known did not require explanation. You lie very still now, listening to your own breathing slow. Do you feel it? That faint tug behind the breastbone. The body remembers before the mind does. It remembers rooms that smelled of wood smoke and damp wool. It remembers the way lamplight would stretch long fingers across uneven floorboards. It remembers the small domestic sounds, someone shifting their weight on a creaking chair, and the soft metallic clink of a spoon against the inside of a cup, the low murmur of conversation that did not demand your participation, yet always included you. Modern evenings rarely make room for that kind of inclusion. They are bright. They are scheduled. They are optimized. Even when you are surrounded by people, the air is segmented. Each person carrying their own small screen, their own private timeline, their own parallel conversation no one else can hear. You can sit at the same table for 3 hours and never once meet anyone's unguarded eyes for longer than it takes to pass the salt. And so the ache arrives. Not dramatic, not loud. Just the slow realization that you have not been truly seen, without performance, without caption, without explanation, in longer than you can comfortably count. You close your eyes, let the breath move in, move out. There is no hurry tonight. Let us walk backward together. Not far, just far enough that the light changes. Imagine, only imagine, an evening that is not yours alone. Not an Instagram version of community. Not a curated gathering with fairy lights and charcuterie and carefully selected playlists. A real evening, an ordinary one. The day has been long. Hands smell of soil, or wood, or animal, or bread. Clothing carries the day on it. Sweat, smoke, the faint iron scent of blood if the slaughter was recent, the green stain of crushed herbs if the garden was tended. No one has showered. No one expects to. Clean is tomorrow. Tonight is only continuation. A door opens. Someone enters. They do not announce themselves. They simply arrive, carrying cold on their coat, carrying tiredness in their shoulders, carrying the day's news in the way they exhale. No one asks, "How was your day?" in that bright, obligatory way. Instead, someone says your name. Quietly, not a question, a recognition. You lift your head, they sit. Someone else pours liquid into a cup without asking if you want it. The cup is warm. The contents are dark and bitter and familiar. You wrap your hands around it, not because you are cold, but because the warmth is a small, deliberate tether. Conversation begins the way rivers begin. Small, separate, then slowly joining. Someone speaks of the fence that needs mending. Someone else laughs, low and rough, because the same fence was supposed to be mended last spring. No one is blamed. The laughter is not cruel. It is only the sound of time being acknowledged. You do not speak much. You do not need to. They have seen you tired before. They have seen you angry. They have seen you silent for weeks. They have seen you cry once, maybe twice, in the years you have shared air with them. They carry those memories without turning them into stories. They do not need you to explain tonight's quiet. They simply sit inside it with you. This is the part most people misunderstand when they romanticize the past. They imagine endless harmony, perpetual understanding, a world without conflict. But there was conflict. Sharp words, old grudges, betrayals that never fully healed. People who could not stand each other yet still broke bread at the same table because the table was larger than their dislike. Understanding without explanation did not mean everyone was kind. It meant the relationship was old enough and the shared ground sturdy enough that silence could be trusted. And you could sit in a room full of people who knew your worst moments and still feel no need to defend them. That is the safety you are missing. Not perfection. Safety. The safety of being allowed to be incomplete. You breathe in slowly now. Hold it. Let it leak out through parted lips. Feel how heavy your limbs have become against the mattress. The modern world asks you to be legible at all times, to have a position, an opinion, a brand, a mood that can be summarized in 3 emojis or less. Even your rest must be aesthetic. Even your exhaustion must be witnessed in order to be valid. But once, there were evenings when you were allowed to be illegible, when the simple fact that you were there was enough evidence of your existence. You do not need to answer tonight. No one is waiting for your reply. Let the memory drift closer. Let it settle. The fire is low now. Embers mostly. Someone has placed another log on, but it is not yet caught. The room breathes in slow orange pulses. A child is asleep against someone's chest. Their breathing is the slowest rhythm in the room. Someone is mending, needle flashing in and out of fabric. The soft scratch of thread is part of the soundscape. Someone else is humming. Not a song exactly, just a line that repeats, forgets itself, begins again. No one tells them to stop. You are sitting on the floor, back against the wall. Your knees are bent. Your arms rest loosely across them. You are not doing anything useful. You are simply there. And that is enough. Do you feel the difference? Not in your mind, in your body. The absence of performance, the absence of explanation. The absence of having to prove that your silence is not rudeness, your distance is not rejection, your stillness is not judgment. Here, silence is one of the languages they speak. Here, being understood without explanation is not a gift. It is infrastructure. You exhale again, longer this time. The room you are in now is darker, colder, smaller, but the memory is warmer. Stay with it a little longer. Let us not rush. There is no hurry. The ache you feel is ancient. It is older than capitalism, older than cities, older than writing. It is the body remembering that once there were nervous systems that co-regulated without effort, that once mirror neurons fired in long, slow waves across whole rooms of people who had known each other since birth or near enough, that once the sound of someone else's breath, someone else's sigh, someone else's small, unconscious movements was enough to down-regulate your own cortisol, slow your own pulse, quiet your own vigilance. That once safety was not a feeling you had to generate alone. That once safety could be borrowed. You are not weak for missing it. You are human for missing it. The past was not better. It was narrower, harder, more painful in many ways. Infant mortality, hunger that arrived without warning, violence that arrived without courts, women and children and outsiders who had no voice at all in many of those rooms, disease that could sweep through a village in days, cold that could kill, work that broke bodies long before old age. Nostalgia is not truth. Nostalgia is a survival signal. It is your organism whispering, there was once a form of rest that did not require isolation. There was once a form of rest that could be shared. You do not miss the hardship. You miss the context that made the hardship bearable. You miss the way meaning arrived without being hunted. You miss evenings when meaning was not something you had to produce, but something you could simply sit inside. Let your shoulders drop now. Let your jaw unclench. Let the breath move lower, into the belly. You are safe here. No one is asking anything of you. The fire has settled into embers. The talking has become murmuring. Someone yawns, the yawn travels. Someone else yawns an answer. A small laugh follows. Soft, private, then quiet again. You feel your eyelids grow heavier. You feel the slow dissolving of edges. The line between your body and the room becomes less certain. The line between your thoughts and the breathing around you becomes less certain. You are not falling asleep yet. You are falling into something older than sleep. You are falling into the place before names, before explanations, before performance. You are falling into the soft animal body that still remembers how to be held by other soft animal bodies without needing to justify its existence. Let go. There is nothing left to prove tonight. The embers glow once, twice, then only faintly. Someone rises, moves slowly, places a blanket over the child, moves another blanket toward you without speaking. You do not thank them. You do not need to. The gesture lands inside you like warm water. You pull the blanket higher. The weave of it is rough against your cheek. It smells of lanolin and smoke and time. Your eyes close completely now. The room breathes. You breathe with it. No one says good night. They do not need to. The silence already said it. And somewhere in that silence, in that long-practiced quiet, you are understood. Without apology, without translation, without effort, just understood. The fire is almost gone now. Only the faintest red pulse remains. The house creaks once, settling into itself. Your breath has become so slow it barely moves the blanket. You are not asleep yet. You are only resting. Resting in the oldest way. Resting inside a room that knows your shape. Resting inside a silence that has carried your name for years. Resting inside the safety that needs no explanation. Let everything else dissolve now. The day, the phone, the future, the past. Let them drift away like ash. There is only this breath, this warmth, this quiet that remembers you. You are here. You are allowed. You are enough. The embers go out. Darkness arrives, soft, complete, unhurried. And in that darkness, for the first time in a long time, you do not feel alone. You feel held. And that is all. That is enough. Sleep now. There is nothing left to carry tonight. Let it all go. Let it go. Let it go. The silence already knows your name.